Hi. I realized that I didn't film an actual intro to this video, so editor me has now come out of her editing cave to film an intro, so I have something to put at the beginning of the video. I just wanted to say hi. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited to be back and talking about my works in progress and some plans I have for this year. And Happy New Year. I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that you are having a great start to the new year. I hope that you're getting lots of crafting done, lots of just general life stuff done. And I'm hoping to see you guys again with some more updates, hopefully very soon. And for now, I will let past me roll on into the works in progress. First up in my giant whip pile is a project I know I'm going to rip out. It was a snowman that I started in, I believe it was 2023. And I originally started this project because I was like, I would love to have like a 2-foot, 3-foot crocheted snowman to stack beside my bookcases to have like a little extra decor at Christmas time. I've since moved on from that. I don't necessarily care about having a crocheted snowman, but this is what it looks like so far. I got the head done a while ago. That's somewhere around here. No, I actually ripped the head out, which sounds kind of like a serial killer when I say it like that. Anyway, I need to rip this out. This is the body, or what I had done of the body. I do remember very little details about this. I remember I was holding it double-stranded. I have 2 yarns here, if you could see. There, that's probably a better look. This was some kind of acrylic. It was probably Big Twist, which rip Joann's. I'm still not over that. And then this one's just one of those fuzzy yarns. I always want to call them spun yarns, but I think people call it boucle. Maybe? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I touched this project. But seeing this yarn reminds me, I do have another project going with this yarn. So I'll actually be able to tell you what yarn it is. But there we go, first project. This is being tossed into the frog pile. Next up, I went ahead and found the project I was working with, the other yarn. This is Bernat Pipsqueak in the color Snow, I think. I don't actually have the label, but I have a note here that tells me what it was. This is actually a project I want to get back to because it's really fun and I'm excited to see how it turns out. I just need to find my notes because I don't remember where I put them. But it is a little Yeti creature. It's not attached. Both legs are separate. But get that yarn out of the way. It is a little Yeti creature. You see the little toes? I worked so hard on the toes, which also sounds like something a serial killer would say. What is wrong with me? Anyway, yeah, it's a little Yeti. It's adorable. I can't wait to keep working on this and actually see it take shape. I got to a certain point in the legs and then I was like, I'm gonna take a break. And then I couldn't find my notes when I came back to this. So that's why this one's still a work in progress. I was very excited when I started this. But the blue is also Big Twist. I just have a love affair with Big Twist. I don't know. I bought a lot when Joann's was going out of business because it's just a really solid acrylic. But there we go. This project is going into the keep pile. Next up is a project that I actually don't know what to do about. And I want opinions, I want advice, because I literally have zero idea what to do. And that project is this not a blanket anymore blanket project. Let me explain. I made these colorful squares in a range of different colors, and I was planning on doing a blanket that starts at one corner. So this is block number 1. And then you have 2, let me see if I can hold it. Then you have 2 green ones that go above it. So this is the bottom corner. And then these basically go up like this, if that makes any sense at all. So it goes up like a corner, basically. And the first square is yellow, and then it does 2 greens, and then I believe it's 3 blues, 4 reds, 4 oranges, 5 reds, and then 6 purples. And then it starts all over again. Now, at the time that I started this blanket, I thought this was the most brilliant idea ever. I thought it was gonna look so cute. I thought it was going to make a great baby blanket. And then I went to start actually crocheting these squares together to assemble it into the start of the blanket. And I realized that I hated it. I don't know if it's all the colors paired together, but there's something about it that I'm just like, I don't know. And maybe it's the orange. Maybe the orange doesn't match. I don't know. So I do have some options, or some thoughts rather, of what I could do with this project right now. One is to finish it as a baby blanket. I originally was intending for this to be like a twin size throw to kind of like have in somebody's home. I was picturing a very colorful home that somebody would like a blanket like this in, but then I realized that even I don't like it, and so I don't know who to give it to. I could also reach out in one of my Facebook groups and see if anybody wants this project. I also had some purple squares that never got finished. They go in rows of 3, as you can see. And then it's like, 3 and then 3 and then 3. Obviously, that's what rows of 3 mean. If anyone has any ideas on what else I could do with this blanket, not blanket anymore, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments, because I do need some advice. I've never had a project that I pulled a 180 on this hard. It didn't turn out the way that I envisioned. Okay, so there's that project finished and sorted and talked through. At this point, I still don't know what to do with it. So it's not going in the finished pile. It's not going in the frog pile. It's going in a new secret third pile, which is, don't know what I want to do with it. Maybe I might rip it out. Maybe I might finish it, repurpose the squares. It's going in the maybe category. That's what we'll call that. Since we're on a roll with disappointing projects, I would like to turn your attention to, this was my favorite whip of 23 and 24 and 25. Any moment that I could sit down and knit on this, I was so excited. This was my comfort project. It is my Stained Glass Rain pullover. Stained Glass Rain is a pattern of mine that is currently socks, and that might be it. I had plans to make a hat pattern and gloves, and I think a cowl, and then eventually a sweater. So I started knitting up a sample of the sweater, and I loved working on this project. This was, again, one of my most favorite whips from the last 3 years. Every year that I worked on this, I was like, I can't wait till it's finished. I'm so excited. And then I reached the point where it was time to separate for the hem, because I was planning to do a split hem. So I tried it on to make sure that it was still fitting the way that I wanted it to, still looked the way I wanted it to, and I hated it. Something about the horizontal striping of the fade and the vertical striping of the stitch pattern just is not working for me. I put it on and I was like, oh my God, this looks horrible. So now I don't know what to do. Well, that's not true. I know what to do, sort of. Step 1 is rip this out, because no way am I finishing this. It's sad because it's literally so gorgeous, but on a body, it does not look gorgeous. It just looks, the stitch pattern gets stretched out. The striping, the horizontal striping of the fade does not look the way that it's supposed to. It just, I wish that I could describe it in a way other than it looks horrible, but it just looks horrible. It's not working. And I would rather not finish something that I'm not going to wear. So tragically, this one must be ripped out. I think I might save the yarn, like do each little increment and save it for how much I used in the body. And I might knit a faded sweater, just like a very simple fingering weight faded sweater. And I might repurpose the white for something else, maybe a different sweater. I think that this stitch pattern with the fading would actually make for a very good shawl. But again, on a sweater, it doesn't work for me. And I don't know if it's my body type or if it's just the vertical and horizontal lines combined that just doesn't work, but it just doesn't work. I was actually very upset when I realized that. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I've spent 3 years of my life on this. I love the way it looks. I can't believe I'm not gonna be able to wear it. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, it is sad, but also I can breathe new life into this yarn. So it's not that sad. It's more sad that all the work is gone. But yeah, that's my sorted sweater tail. I'm really glad that I figured it out before I finished the entire sweater, because if I had a sweater that I wasn't wearing in my wardrobe, let me tell you, that would have been more upsetting. If I seem very blasé about this project in particular being ripped out, I just kind of speed ran the 5 stages of grief, because I'd rather know what I'm gonna rip out rather than spend too much time wishing I didn't have to rip it out. Everybody grieves their projects differently, so I get it if that's something that you need more time to sit with. But yeah, this project is definitely going into the frog category. These are in no particular order, by the way, just whatever I grab. And the next one is a crochet blanket, which is one I actually like a lot. It's just a corner to corner blanket, and I ripped this one out a while ago and restarted because I was using one of those, what are they called? Magic knot ball, and it was randomly like stopping and starting. And I didn't feel like it was doing a very good job of creating the feeling that I wanted, which was a striped blanket. I still want it to feel scrappy and fun, and like it's not very thought out. So I have done color management to make it feel more random and scrappy. And so I'm doing a lot of like, let's just grab this one and crochet for however long it lasts. And so some of the stripes are only like a couple of rows and some of them are bigger. It really just depends on how much yarn that specific scrap has. As long as it's enough to make it across a row, I don't care. It does mean that sometimes I've grabbed a scrap, thought it was enough, crocheted almost all the way across a row and realized not enough. That is annoying. But yeah, this is a project that I am excited to finish. I actually kind of want to make it more of a priority because this one's one I've had on the go technically since 2017. But like I said, I did rip it out. Last year, actually, I ripped it out and restarted it. I needed something mindless. I was in the middle of a move for the 4th time in 18 months. That's a whole other story. But yeah, this project is definitely going into the finish pile. I don't foresee it being one of the first projects that I finish in 2026, but it is something I want to start working on very soon. Here we go, and that is now finish pile. Next up is another blanket project, also from 2017. This one is one that I don't foresee myself ripping out. Just spoiler alert, I don't see that. And that's because this is my Cozy Memories blankets. There's a pattern online by Kemper Ray called The Coziest Memory, and it's basically the concept of this blanket, which is mitered squares, all knit and garter stitch, that you pick up and knit as you go, so there's no seaming. Like, for example, I'm still in the middle of this square, and it's already attached to the blanket. That does mean that this project is not very travel friendly, but as somebody that likes to stay home and knit anyway, that's fine. This has all of my fingering weight yarn scraps from when I started knitting. Literally, some of my very first, earliest yarns are down here. And I just think it's so cool because I've been knitting since 2011, and I've been collecting all the fingering weight yarn. And when this blanket, I first heard about this blanket, I thought, oh my God, this is such a great way to keep the actual memories, because I can look at each one of these squares and know exactly what project it belongs to. It does take a second sometimes to jog my memory, but it's just like, it's incredible. I remember this was a design that I worked on, as was this. This was my very first skein of Felicia yarn, which is a Knit Picks brand. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and bore you with literally every single square because that could take hours. But it's such a great way to keep memory alive, and it's such a great way to have a physical manifestation of all the years that I've been knitting. So yeah, I don't see this one being ripped out ever. I'm in no rush to finish this immediately. It's actually something I've been enjoying taking very slow because it's, like I said, it's a collection of memories, and it's so much fun, and it's amazing to be able to pick this up and put it back down and come back, and just all of my years of knitting are stored within this blanket. So that's that one. It lives in a little Lucky Charms bag that I've had pretty much the same amount of time. And this one is definitely going into the finish pile. Next up is a project that's in a sad, sad state. This is my zipper sweater, which is a pattern by Petite Knits. And at first glance, it doesn't look like it's in bad condition because, like, look, all my stitches are on the needles and I'm like working on it. And then you lift it up and it's like, oh dear. So I made a mistake in the pattern about, I don't want to give anything away because it is a paid for pattern, but there's a part after you finish increasing one section where you do something different than the way you've been doing it all pattern. And I forgot. So I kept doing the same thing for the rest of the pattern after I finished increasing for the specific section. And I realized why the designer did it that way, because it basically keeps your line in the same direction. And I didn't realize that I did it wrong. And so instead of going in the same direction, I all of a sudden started going opposite. So it's a very obvious line, to the point where I was like, I think even somebody who doesn't knit would recognize that this is a mistake. And I'm very far from a perfectionist. I genuinely don't care about small errors in my knitting because realistically, who's gonna know that it's an error other than me? But this was so obvious. It's so obvious. I ripped down past that point, but not all of my stitches are back on the needles on the right row. So I'm having to literally go stitch by stitch, rip out each stitch. And then once all of the yarn is connected, instead of being this, whatever this is, once it's all one string again, I'll be able to do a stitch count, figure out where I actually am, what row of the pattern I'm on, and then hopefully I can fix my error from there and then just pay attention when it gets to that section and not make the same mistake. So that's my plan for this one. I actually am planning on picking this up in the next couple of days because I like to have a sweater project going and then a second project going, or sometimes 2 projects going. And since I'm not going to finish my stained glass rain pullover because it looks horrible, I think that going back to this project is a good idea since I want to get this sweater finished anyway. It is a gift for somebody. It was supposed to be a gift this year, and then I decided, that mistake is too horrible. I need to fix it. I'm not going to make it this year, which is fine. There's always next year. But yeah, that's this project, and it's going into the finish pile. I should make a separate pile of stuff that needs to be fixed, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. Speaking of projects that I like to keep on the go at the same time as a sweater, nobody was speaking about that, but I was. This is my Christmas blanket, which is a, it's very similar to a pattern by Daisy Farm. Well, I say it's very similar. Daisy Farm Crafts has a blanket that looks very similar to this. The one by Daisy Farm Crafts is a free pattern. It uses like half double crochet, I think, and you do it all in one row. So you're basically swapping the colors back and forth every time. Again, it's a free pattern, so I can talk about it. Yeah, you start like with the red and then multicolored, and then you swap, and so you cut the red, and then you've got the white in place of the red, blah, blah, blah. Basically, you know how a gingham pattern works. I was talking to a friend recently, and I was like, oh, I don't think I'll write this pattern up. I still might not. But I was talking to her, and I was like, I don't think I'll write it up because like Daisy Farm Crafts has one that's very similar, and like people can just follow that. And she was like, I thought you did like corner to corner squares. And I was like, oh, I did. Yeah. I did corner to corner individual squares and then seamed them together and then seamed that row to another row and whatever. And she was like, that doesn't sound anything like Daisy Farm Crafts. And I was like, it doesn't, but I don't know. I'm of the mindset you see one gingham blanket, you've seen them all. You can kind of decide your own stitch pattern to do each individual square in. But if, you know, people are interested, I might write this up one day, but for now I'm just interested in trying to finish it. Which is a feat in and of itself because the yarn has been discontinued. I'm so stressed. This yarn is an old yarn by Michaels. It was their loops and threads in the wool-like line, and it's like a very thin fingering weight yarn. It is a yarn that's like mostly acrylic, and then like a tiny percentage is like polyamide or something like that. Anyway, the yarn was discontinued, and this is yarn that I bought about, I would say close to 15 years ago, 13, 14 years ago. And I have collected this yarn for quite a few years because it was always one of my favorites back then. I was like, look, it's so soft, it's so thin. Like this is great for an acrylic. Like it doesn't feel like an acrylic, but you can care for it like an acrylic. And it was great for people that I wanted to gift things to that wanted something lighter weight, but also didn't want to do the maintenance of hand washing wool. And I know that there's superwash wool, but believe it or not, people still have allergies to that as well. So this was just a great alternative. But now I have to go on the hunt on Ravelry and see if there's anybody who wants to sell me a few skeins, because I believe I'm gonna run about 4 or 5 rows short on this blanket. And in terms of yarn, that will put me about 3 skeins short. So I still have some yarn that I'm working through. I'm gonna finish as much as I can of this blanket, see how tall it gets me, then do some quick math and figure out how much yarn I actually need to get off of Ravelry, and then just pray that somebody wants to sell me it. That's my plan for this project. It is folded double. I don't want to unfold it because it's folded really nicely, but here's a glory shot for anyone that wants it. It's gorgeous, right? Again, this is another gift. I can use wool just fine. That whole sweater I was knitting, the stained glass rain one, is wool. I have nothing against wool. I prefer working with wool, to be honest with you. But I do make things for a lot of people, and I don't want those people to be unable to use it because they either are allergic or they don't care for wool. I always think that when you're making a gift for someone, you should consider their lifestyle, a handmade gift, I should say. And consider their lifestyle and whether or not they're going to take care of that thing the way that you would take care of that thing. And maybe that's just like an old school belief, but I see people being disappointed because their loved ones don't want to wear this like handmade wool shawl that took them like a million hours and it's beaded and everything. And I'm like, you should know that person's lifestyle in their wardrobe before you give them something that they might not like. That's a bit of a hot take, but yeah, that's kind of my opinion when it comes to gift giving. And I would rather use yarn that is not necessarily my personal preference, but will be used and enjoyed by the recipient. So there, that's this blanket. It's going into the finished pile. And the last project that I have on the needles is actually something I cast on last night. It is a simple, like infinity scarf, cowl, I don't know what you would call it. I'm planning on knitting the entire thing up as just a tube scarf and connecting the two ends together for like a Kitchener stitch moment. I debated for a while if I was going to have it be just a regular scarf that was just knit in the round, but I only have one skein and I wasn't sure it was enough to do like a full length scarf. And there's something about short scarves, it just feels like it's not finished. So I cast it on with the provisional cast on method, if you could see that little purple ridge right there. I did a provisional cast on method with the plan to Kitchener stitch this closed with the ending of the scarf. Why am I explaining a Kitchener stitch? Everybody knows what a Kitchener stitch is. If you don't, Google it. It's a knitting technique, if that wasn't obvious. But yeah, this yarn, let's talk about the yarn. This is yarn that I bought from, I don't even remember where. I want to say it was Hobie yarn, something like that. That's the title. It's merino gold, and forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Is it batik? Batik? I'm not sure. I thought it would be fun for a neutral scarf to just kind of see how the colors develop. And I don't know if it was obvious earlier when I showed it, but it has had some, it's doing something. You see that? That's definitely something. I'm excited to see how this turns out. What's funny is I had this yarn sitting in a giveaway pile because I was like, I'm never gonna use this yarn. I'm gonna chuck it over there. And then I was like, I want something to knit on during Stranger Things. And I just was randomly like, oh, I could use this. Which is funny, I've had this in my stash for a while. I've never used it, and I was like, I'm not going to use this. This isn't my type of yarn. And then I just randomly, I think because I saw it sitting out, I was like, oh, here's what I could do with that. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this turns out. It's really good knitting for being able to watch TV. Let me know, are there particular projects you can't work on when you're watching something like Stranger Things, something very action-packed, or are you at a point where you can basically work on anything? I personally feel like anything where I'm knitting, I can watch anything, even if it's action-packed. Crochet, I feel like I can't watch anything that's too action-y. I've never tried to knit anything too intricate while watching like action-y type shows, but it would be interesting to test different stitch patterns and see what's the most intricate I can knit while still being able to pay attention to an action-y type show. That might be something to look into. But yeah, as this was recently cast on, this is definitely going into the finished pile.
Hi, editor me again. If I didn't film an intro, it makes sense that I also didn't film an outro. I just wanted to say thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you got lots of knitting or crochet or even sewing done while I was talking. Thanks for listening to me ramble on about my works in progress and plans that I have, and I can't wait to bring some of those plans to this channel. I hope that you'll stay tuned if you want to hear more about what goes on, if you want to see some of my works in progress progress, or you want to actually see me frog some of those things I talked about, then make sure that you're subscribed to this channel because I'm very excited to come back, start posting videos again. It might be a little bit different than how I used to, but I'm very excited to come back. I'm very excited to start posting again. I've missed this. I've missed talking to you guys. So yeah, if any of that sounds interesting to you, then make sure you are subscribed and stay tuned because I've got some exciting things coming. Take care, happy knitting, and I will see you guys soon.